33 passengers, a veteran pilot, a routine flight across the skies of southern Africa. But just 90 minutes after takeoff, something goes terribly wrong. No distress calls, no warnings. The plane suddenly vanishes from radar, leaving investigators to piece together the final moments. What really happened in the cockpit of LAM Flight 470? Was it an accident? Or something far more chilling? November 29, 2013. It seemed like an ordinary day for Mozambique Airlines Flight 470. The scheduled international passenger flight from Maputo, Mozambique to Luanda, Angola, was expected to take just over 3 hours. On board the Embraer 190 aircraft, registered C9EMC, were 33 souls, 27 passengers and 6 crew members. Among them, 49-year-old Captain Herminio dos Santos Fernandez, a veteran pilot with over 9,000 hours of flight experience, and First Officer, 24-year-old Gracio Gregorio Chimukile, a younger but competent co-pilot with about 1,400 hours of flight experience. The Embraer 190, a modern twin-engine jet, was known for its reliability. No one could have imagined that this routine flight would end in catastrophe. LAM Flight 470 departed Maputo International Airport at 11:26 a.m. local time. The weather was clear, the skies blue, and the flight route across southern Africa appeared uneventful. As the aircraft climbed, the passengers settled in for what was expected to be an ordinary flight. The passenger list was diverse: 12 Mozambican nationals, 7 from Angola, 5 Portugal citizens, and 1 each from France, Brazil, and China. Business travelers, families, and everyday people, each with their own story on a journey that none of them knew would be their last. As the aircraft cruised at 38,000 feet, still in Botswanan airspace, at around 1 p.m. local time, the mood inside the cockpit was calm. The skies ahead were clear, but a storm system was building along the flight path over Namibia. While the weather at the current altitude posed no immediate threat, turbulence was expected at lower altitudes. The crew had already reviewed the weather reports. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Yet, at 1:11 p.m., something unprecedented happened. The autopilot disengaged. Without warning or reason, the Embraer 190 began to descend, slowly at first, and then more rapidly. No communication was made with air traffic control. No distress signal was sent, and at this moment the cockpit was silent. Investigators would later learn that Captain Fernandez was alone in the cockpit. First Officer Chimukile had momentarily left to use the restroom, and no cabin crew member replaced him in the cockpit as per the operational policy of Mozambique Airlines. In this brief window, investigators believe that Captain Fernandez locked the cockpit door and manually disengaged the autopilot and entered a controlled descent from 38,000 feet to 592 feet that was below ground level and descended at an alarming rate of 6,000 feet per minute. The Namibian wilderness is vast and desolate. The Bwabwata National Park, where Flight 470 was headed, is an isolated region known for its dense forests and wildlife. The terrain below was uninhabited, and any hope of a controlled landing seemed impossible at this speed. At 1:17 p.m., just 6 minutes after the descent began, LAM Flight 470 vanished from radar. The last known position of the plane was deep inside Bwabwata National Park. The Embraer 190 crashed, leaving no survivors. Rescue teams only located the wreckage the following day, as the weather conditions worsened. The final report found no immediate signs of external tampering, and the evidence pointed to an intentional crash. What do you think happened that fateful day? Was it an act of human vulnerability, or is there more we'll never understand? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more chilling stories of aviation's greatest mysteries, because some questions may never have answers.